Hey, Central Minnesota. I got your fishing forecast for this weekend. Today's Thursday, August 3rd. Right now, the best times to be on the water between 5:30 and 7:30 a.m. and then 7 to 9 p.m. Just based on when the sunset is. So we'll get right into it right now. Friday is probably my lowest score of the weekend just because we have high pressure and it is still rising. We have partly cloudy skies and an east wind, which I'm never a huge fan of. So I only give Friday morning a 5 out of 10. Friday evening is better. We'll have light east winds and cloudy skies. And we have average pressure, but it's starting to fall, which is always good for fishing. So I give Friday evening a 7 out of 10. So I like Friday evening. Saturday morning, another 7 out of 10. We're going to have cloudy skies, another 5 to 10 east mile-an-hour wind. Pressure is just about to fall. It's hovering right before it falls, and a lot of times those fish can sense that the pressure is about to fall with the rain and storms that are forecasted this weekend. So I do like it when the pressure is about to fall because those fish can sense that. So I give that a 7 out of 10. Just keep an eye on the radar. This weekend you could end up with it raining all weekend, or you could end up with 3-4 hour pockets in between rain. That could make fishing really, really good. So 7 out of 10 as long as the rain and storms cooperate. Saturday evening, rainstorms are likely, but if they're after dark, leading up to that evening bite could be really good if those storms are forecasted for 10, 11 o'clock at night. We'll have cloudy skies, still an east wind, but it's 2 days of an east wind, so that helps. We have low pressure that's still falling even. So that's really good for fishing typically if you can be on the water and you don't get run off the lake by storms. So I like Saturday evening. That's my highest rating with an 8 out of 10. But with that, remember, Saturday evening might not even be fishable. It could just be thunderstorms and rain. So it all depends on when and where the storms pop up. Sunday morning, I give it a 7 out of 10 because we're going to have cloudy skies. What I don't like is we have a strong north 10 to 20 mile-an-hour wind. I don't like fishing when it's that windy, especially that really cools the water off. Right now, the water temps around central Minnesota here, surface temp are close to 80 degrees, and those fish have really transitioned out deep where that could change things and make fish relocate when you get a cool front coming in. So we do have a major moon period on Sunday morning. So I give Sunday a 7 out of 10, but again, it's all going to be determined by where it's raining, how hard it's raining, if it's raining, that type of thing. So Sunday evening, I get a 6 out of 10. Pressure's still going to be falling, so that's good. The winds will die down some, but they're still forecasting 10 to 15 mile-an-hour winds out of the north. So that's why I only give it a 6 out of 10. Generally, north winds, cool front, can slow fishing down if it affects water temp. Monday morning, I give a 6 out of 10. We'll have partly cloudy skies, still a strong north wind at 10 to 15. We'll have low pressure, but it's going to be rising. Rising pressure isn't bad as long as it's low. And then we'll have a major moon period in the morning. So 6 out of 10. Could be a 7 out of 10 if the winds are lighter than that are forecast. If we can get like a 5 to 10 instead of a 10 to 15, that could be much better. Monday evening, I give that a 6 out of 10. Winds die down, north 5 to 10. We're going to be getting into that cool front, though, but we still have low pressure that's on the rise, so fishing should be okay at Monday evening. I give it a 6 out of 10 as long as what's forecasted happens. So let's get to kind of my report and tactics I'm seeing this week. Last Tuesday, you may have seen I gave last Tuesday a 9 out of 10 just because of the moon phases, the conditions, the barometer, all that stuff. So my brother and I went out fishing. He went out in the morning. I went out in the afternoon, and his morning bite was really good. He caught, I think he said 9 northerns in about 25 feet of water, and they were all quality fish. The biggest one was 31 inches and several over 26, lots of 24s. So a really fun morning out on the water for him. He was fishing on a lake that isn't known to have a lot of walleyes, but I went and checked out that same pattern on another lake. Granted, it was in the afternoon, but there were fish stacked up in that same depth, around 26 feet, 25 feet. And when I started fishing for him, I was pulling bottom bouncers and crawlers and spinners, and I ended up catching a few northerns, then got bit off too. But one of my northerns being 27, another one being 26. So there's big quality fish out there in that 25 feet of water now that the water temp is warmed up. There weren't many fish in the outside edge of the weeds. That warm water really pushed them out. which for the first time this summer, I've been really marking fish even during the day out deep. So I'm excited to give it a try in the evening more, because I think some of those fish out there will be walleyes if you target them in the evening. Right now they're about 23 feet off the, or 23 feet down, 3 feet off the bottom. So deep diving cranks work great, and I was using crawler harnesses. You catch a lot of northerns on them, but you also catch walleye, especially in the early morning, evening bite. So I'll show you kind of the product I have. This was a pre-tied one of a crawler harness. You know, so I have the spinner with 3 or 4 blades. I don't like that blade being too low because I don't want it to whack the fish in the face if they get hooked up there. It may make a picky fish decide not to really take it. And then we have our stinger or trailer hook in the back. And the product I want to look at here is, these are Gulp. Berkley Gulp makes these plastic crawlers. And what's nice is they're way easier to hook up than a crawler. And the action they get is very similar. They have a scent behind them. And honestly, what triggers most bites anyways is the spinner. So the fact that you have a spinner and something smelly that looks like a night crawler on it can prove to catch fish just as well as your normal night crawlers. You know, when you're trying to hook night crawlers up, they're wiggling all over. You're trying to hook them different ways, and then they don't always sit right in the water. This can be an answer to that, especially if those fish are in a biting mood the way it is. So check these out. Any night crawler, any plastic night crawler will probably work. I like the Gulp ones because they're made out of pig fat. They're biodegradable, and they have a great scent to them. So this is the Gulp night crawler version. I'll put the link down below. I'm excited to go out and try this here this weekend. I also I'm going to rig one up, and maybe I'll have a picture for you with a slow death hook, because what that slow death hook will do, it's going to make that crawler spin like this underwater, and I'll still put a trailer hook behind that. If you don't like the length of these things, they're easy to trim, cut off the tail, cut off the head, and you can get to the exact length you want them. So this is also really helpful if you have those panfish. The lake I fish a lot has a ton of perch and a ton of little sunfish, and they're stealing the tips of your crawlers and screwing up that action. This is a great answer to that, because honestly, this spinner right here, I think the spinner and scent is what does the magic under the water to get fish to bite. So I'm excited to try these out. Also, a Walleye Pro designed these, so there's a reason behind them. So hopefully you get out fishing. Hopefully you catch a break between the storms. We know around here when they forecast rain, it doesn't always rain. So the fishing can be good. So as always, if you have to, take off work, go fishing, have some fun. See ya.